HALion 6 is about discovering new possibilities for exploring your own creativity. Most importantly, it's about not sounding like everyone else. Sure, it comes with loads of factory content which you can use, but it's about you, and it's about you creating your own sound. Let's take a good look at what HALion 6 actually is. First up, it's the most powerful sampler ever to be released. And it's powerful because it's got up to 5 different zones for tone generation, sampling, resynthesis, and of course manipulating sound. You can start working with HALion straight away inside the box, or alternatively, you can look for some outside inspiration and turn your old instruments into a sample library. Or you can build your own instrument using the macro page designer. You can build your own instruments or sample libraries in HALion 6 and either sell them or share them for free with other HALion Sonic or HALion Sonic SE users. You can work with a large array of different sounds in any one session in HALion 6, and the good news is it's extremely controllable, meaning you can use it with a number of different external controllers in a number of different environments. HALion 6 comes with over 3,400 presets. These presets can be loaded into programs, and they're all neatly stored away into the one central library, which is called the Media Bay. Now, the Media Bay has a ton of filters, which makes it really easy for us to find a sound that we're after. Each instrument has its own macro page, which is a user interface designed to make it as easy as possible for you to navigate your way around the sound. One of the key differences between HALion 6 and HALion Sonic 3 is the program tree. The program tree gives us a logical layout of the architecture behind the programs inside of HALion 6. To put it simply, we can take the prefabricated programs that we've already been given and start to build on top of them, or we can start from ground zero to build our own huge and complex sonic structures with even our own user interfaces that we can use in our own projects or share with other people. Speaking of complex structures, I'm going back to the Media Bay to look for a combi preset or program. Now, a combi program is a combination of multiple instruments, but it's not complex at all to navigate your way around it because you've got the 2 macros on the macro page and you can see the 2 layers over on the right-hand side in the program tree. HALion 6 is a multi-timbral instrument, and that means we can load multiple programs into the slot rack and control them all simultaneously. We can select the program to see what's going on in the editors and also over in the program tree. Up in the MIDI tab, we can define zones for each of these programs, and that means we can control all of the programs at once on an external MIDI controller. That's a fantastic tool for live performance. HALion 6 is a virtual software instrument that can be hosted in all major DAWs, and you can integrate sound design between these DAWs and HALion 6. There is obviously a special relationship between HALion 6 and Cubase and Nuendo, and it takes integration between a DAW and a sound design instrument to a whole new level. You can mix inside the box using HALion's own advanced mixer, or you can activate up to 32 stereo outputs and 6 surround sound outputs and route each individual program out through a channel in your DAW's own mixer. That means you can use the effects that come with your DAW or even third-party effects to further enhance the sound design. HALion 6 comes with a massive arsenal of instruments, and you can take these instruments to a whole new level by getting behind the scenes. But more importantly, you can bring your own instruments to HALion 6. If you've got an old age home full of beloved old instruments that are gathering dust and waiting for a new lease of life, give yourself a smack around the face, plug an instrument in, put a microphone on it, and hit record. HALion 6 will instantly map it and make it accessible so that you can load it into a zone and then start having fun. Next up, I've simply swapped over to the wavetable zone, and it's taken a snapshot of the piano sample that I recorded earlier, and it's come up with this. I'm not a sound designer, and I am floored by this sound that I've created in a matter of moments from that piano sample that I recorded earlier. And it gets better because I can combine any number of zones together to even make the sound richer or even more complex in nature. Now I'm using a filter to further shape the sound. Have you got an old instrument sitting around that you haven't played in years? Well, unfortunately for you, I do, and I've taken this moment to put it on camera. I've hooked up a microphone, and what's cool about what's going on now is there's an auto threshold there which is starting the record and finishing the record for each note and it's automatically mapping it to the keyboard. So I put my violin down and I play a note on the keyboard. I've turned on a flex phraser, added a reverb, and I've got a whole series of notes that I probably couldn't play even after 3 beers. Now I'm going over to the oscillator section and I'm adding a synth zone. This is easy. I could do this after 5 beers. HALion 6 is not just for gigs in really bad shirts. There's also a synth zone for the synth enthusiasts, although the jury is still out on whether they'd be classified as gigs. We've got 3 oscillators with different waveforms. We've got a sub, we've got a ring modulator, and we've got noise. There's a truckload of editors that you can use to build sound and also help sculpt and shape the sound. Each one of these individual editors lets you save and recall sounds instantly. Next up, I'm going up to the organ zone, where there's 9 drawbars, and I can bring in different harmonics to create a completely different type of sound. The work, or should I say fun, isn't over when you've finished using the sound sculpting tools to build your very own program, because we can go over into the macro page designer and build our very own instrument. How cool is that? How many of you can say you built your own instrument? And it's dead easy. You just add the controls in the macro page designer, find a parameter you want to map to that control, right mouse click, say connect to macro page, right mouse click on a control and connect it to the parameter. And all of a sudden, that control is controlling the parameter. You can put labels on all of the different controls and then instantly start playing your instrument. I'm only just scratching the surface with HALion 6. There is so much functionality packed inside of this one sampler and instrument, and there are so many different applications and uses for HALion 6. Don't be too scared or daunted by the prospect of getting into HALion 6, because there's a really weird grey-haired guy in a bad shirt that's right there on the Steinberg YouTube channel waiting to hold your hand and start taking you through the software. That did sound a little weird, didn't it? Anyway, there's tons of videos on the Steinberg YouTube channel, so please subscribe to our channels and reach out to us on social media so we can stay connected and help each other be more creative with Steinberg products.